Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Welcome to Congregation Dor Tamid. Those of you who are joining us on the patio, it is so nice that you are here. So good to see all of you worshiping together this evening. Those of you who are joining us virtually, we are so glad you're here on Facebook, on Zoom, on our website, on YouTube, however you are coming together. We are all here tonight, regardless of the way that we've come together, to celebrate Shabbat, to celebrate this day of rest, this gift that we are given each week by our Creator, as a way to take a step back, to set the schmutz of the week aside and rest and reflect and really renew ourselves as we are taught in our Torah. We come together for Shabbos services for a variety of reasons. Some of us are here because it's Friday night and we are celebrating this day of rest. Some of us are here because we have a loved one, a member of our family, a member of our community, a family member, a friend who we are saying and feeling prayer for. Some of us are here because we are remembering those who have gone from this world, those who we know we are walking through the valley of the shadow as we remember our loved ones. And many of us are here tonight to celebrate with Jonah Grossman, as tomorrow morning he will celebrate, along with our community, becoming a bar mitzvah, the newest adult member of the community, as we call him to the Torah as a Jewish adult, for him to read and lead us in prayer and then teach us from its sacred wisdom. So we are so glad, Jonah, that you are here tonight with so many of your family members. For whatever reason we are here tonight, we rejoice in the beauty that it is that we are all here together. We turn to page 128 in our prayer books. Those of you who are joining us online can follow along in the workbook version. And if you are following along online, at the bottom of the page, you can type in the page number as opposed to just flipping through 128 times to get to the right page, as we sing together these words from the Psalms and say how beautiful it is. And all of us, brothers and sisters, we are going to turn now to page 120, and I'm going to invite Jonah, along with his parents and his brother, to come forward to kindle our Sabbath lights.
Windy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lehazikne shel Shabbat.
We turn now to page 123, and we lift up our wine, our grape juice, our Kiddush cups, our symbol of joy, to sanctify this day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho b'yamahu v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit, ki hu yom tehila l'mikra'ei kodesh, Zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, Yotanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, B'shabbat kodeshecha, B'yama u'v'ratzon hinkaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai b'kadesh ha'shabbat. L'chaim.
Chaim.
Good job. You did it.
We turn now in our prayer books to our service of Kabbalat Shabbat, our service for welcoming in Shabbat on page 130. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, Nariya letzur yishenu, Nekad ma'avanav b'todah, Hizmirot Nariya lo. Together, come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. In God's hands are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are God's. God's is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel. Bend the knee before Adonai our Maker. For Adonai is our God, and we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day.
Sing unto God of yesterday song. I'm sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God of yesterday song. I'm sing unto God a new song. Shivu Adonai Kol haaretz. Shivu Adonai Shir Chadash. Shivu Adonai Kol haaretz. Shivu Adonai Shir Chadash.
We turn now to page 136 for Psalm 29. Mizmor LaDavid. Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim. Havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Havu l'Adonai kavod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh. A psalm of David. Ascribe to Adonai, O divine beings. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow down to Adonai, majestic in holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. Adonai over the mighty waters. The voice of Adonai is power. The voice of Adonai is majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Syrian like a young wild ox. Kol Adonai chotzev lehavod esh. Kol Adonai yachil midbar. The voice of Adonai kindles flames of fire. The voice of Adonai convulses the wilderness. Adonai convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai causes hinds to calve and strips forests bare. While in God's temple all say glory. Adonai sat enthroned at the flood. Adonai sits enthroned sovereign forever. Adonai owes le'amon yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bestow on God's people well-being. We turn now to page 138 as we welcome in the Sabbath bride with the singing of Lecha Dodi. Tonight we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising for the 9th and final verse to welcome the Sabbath bride as she enters our presence. Time Lecha Kalam. Yalalai b'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Shamor zachor v'mor echad Ish mihanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad Shmo echad L'shemo tiferet v'lichilad
Yalalai, yalalai, Lecha Dodi.
Yalalai Lecha Kalam. Yalalai B'nei Shabbat.
B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Likat Shabbat. Lechuven Nechad. Yivko Abraha. Merosh Nikerem Mesukat So Ma'aseh Demachava B'Hila
Yalalai,
Yalalai Lekadodi Yalalai Lekakala Yalalai B'nei Shabbat B'nei Shabbat Nekabela
yalalai,
Yalalai Lekadodi Yalalai Lekakala Yalalai B'nei Shabbat
B'nei Shabbat.
Nekabela Ovi b'shalom Atem bala Gam b'simcha B'tzok olam Tocher b'nei Am segula Oi kala Oi kala
Yalalai, yalalai, Lecha Dodi.
Yalalai Kalam, Yalalai B'nei Shabbat, B'nei Shabbat,
At this time, I'd like to invite our bar mitzvah, Jonah Grossman, to come forward to lead us in a reading on page 145.
Teach me, O God, a blessing of prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf. Unrip the fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways.
We prepare to transition now into the Shema and its blessings with the words of the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yalmad yivrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechol yomechol u'chayetechol bet Yisrael. Magala magala uvizman kari v'yimmeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'la'olmei almaya yitbarach. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitromam, Yitnaseh, Ve'yitadar, Yitalev, Yitalal, Shemei Kudisha Berichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tush birchata v'nechemata, Na'amiran me'alma, Ve'immeru, Amen. Am I awake? Am I sleeping? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I breathing? Barechu et Adonai Amorah. Baruch Adonai Amorah. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Lai lai lai, lai lai lai, lai 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 lai, lai lai lai, lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I breathing?
Please be seated. Page 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Ararim.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha. Ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher nochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha v'aderech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'ayu letotachot b'neinecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Turn to page 157 as we read responsibly. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Try it again. Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Mikamoka baile Adonai. Mikamoka nedam kodesh. Mikamoka baile Adonai. Mikamoka nedam kodesh. Torah
Tehilot,
Ose.
Baba,
Torah
Tehilot,
Ose.
Baba.
Adonai. Yivom leolam vaed. Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 160 for the Hashki Venu, our liturgical lullaby, the song that we sing, this prayer that we offer, that asks God to watch over us as we lie down tonight, to grant over us a Shabbat Shalom, a shelter of peace, a shelter of wholeness, a shelter of goodness over us, over all we love, over all creation, so that we may all wake up tomorrow morning filled with gratitude for the ability to wake up to a new day, and a new ability to do the work of the pair of tikkun in this world.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Uvros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Uvros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wing, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning inside. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Sing amen with me. Amen. 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 Amen.
We turn now to page 162 and these words from Torah, words that remind us as we sing them each week, that as we keep Shabbat, it will renew us and renew our souls.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael So like the rabbi's clapping, don't let him be the only one clapping, you know? There we go. That's good. Mostly on the right side. We need some people on my left. There we go. Shabbat vayinapash v'Bnei Yisrael v'Hashabbat Samson et Hashabbat v'Torah v'Rigolam.
So each week as we sing this and you all sing woo, that was the loudest woo we've gotten in a while.
It was a really good woo.
It was a really good woo, but I have to point out that week in, week out, as we've been virtual, Jack Kingston has wooed and clapped online during the Shamro, and he continues to do so. So thank you, Jack, for doing that. We now turn our prayer books to page 164 as we rise for the tefillah.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Adonai sefatai titach ufi agidelatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הכל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל דיבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol,
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. עושה שלום במרומיו, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום. Hallelujah. Jonah, do you know the hand signals? You want to come up and show everybody? Yeah, come on up. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and may the one makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring. We're gonna try clapping. Ready? Oh, say shalom. Oh, you just try it. Just try it. Try it. 2 and 4. Oh, say shalom. Much cooler now. Be Roma. Oh, say shalom. Be Roma. Uyase shalom. Uyase shalom. Hallelujah. 1, 2, 3, 4. May the one who makes peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Thank you for helping us pray.
So I'd like you to all take a moment. Imagine that you were, as our ancestors were, slaves in the land of Egypt. Parents, whose grandparents, whose great-grandparents had been slaves to Pharaoh for 400 years. Suddenly, Moses shows up on the scene and tells you he's going to lead you and all your friends, all your family, everyone you've ever met to freedom because of God's work, because of the strong hand and the outstretched arm of God. You laugh a little. This guy's a little nuts. What can he do that no one's been able to do for 400 years? And then the blood, the frogs, the vermin, the beasts, the lice, and so on until the death of the firstborn strike Egypt. And Pharaoh miraculously finally tells you, your family and your friends and everyone you've ever met to leave, that you can go to freedom. And so you pack up everything you own and head out, along with all of Israel, until you reach the Sea of Reeds. You look behind you and you see Pharaoh has changed his mind and is there with his chariots and his army to bring you back to slavery. And the sea parts. And you miraculously again go forth to freedom. You find yourself at the foot of a mountain, robed in fire, trembling with those trumpets, the shofars blowing, and you hear coming from the heavens the voice of God saying, I am Adonai your God, who led you out of the land of Egypt. And you receive God's Torah. As you leave the mountain, you head off into the wilderness where there's no water, there's no food. Moses, your leader, talks to a rock and the water comes forth. The manna falls each and every day, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, sustaining you, your family, your friends, and everyone you knew. And then you get to where you're going. You get to the outside of the land of Israel, the land that was promised to you and your ancestors by God, God's self. And God tells Moses to send in 12 spies. Send in one from each of the tribes to scout out the land so you can see where you are going, what you are coming to. The spies come back and they speak of the land flowing with milk and honey, with grapes bigger than their heads, but also giants, armies that we could not possibly defeat. And after everything you've seen till now, you lose faith. That's what the Torah says this week that our ancestors did. They lost faith in God. They lost faith in the ability to do what they were promised to be able to do because they were afraid. It happened to our ancestors who saw all of that. If they lost faith, Kal v'chomer, how much more so would it be easy for us to also lose faith, having not witnessed the sea parting, the plagues, or God's giving of the Torah. And so that should actually give us comfort as we read these words this week on this Shabbat, that as we go through trying times in life, there are times where we may struggle with our faith. We may struggle with our acceptance of something greater than ourselves, just like our ancestors did. And they had the proof. We don't always. But that doesn't mean that we can't find the proof. We can't find the experience of godliness in the world. When you see someone, be kind to a stranger. When you see goodness in the other person, you hear that still small voice within that speaks to you, that tells you the right way, the right path. You can experience God in this world, and even in those challenging times, even when faith seems to be fleeting, we can grasp onto it. Because we are told that we are the children of Israel. We are children of the one who wrestled with God, wrestled with the conception of something greater than ourselves. And as Jews, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to challenge it. We're supposed to ask questions, but we're supposed to seek it as well. So as we go forth on this Shabbat, as we go forth into this new normalcy, into this new world, we should seek out that which is good and high and holy in the world, in each other, in ourselves, so that unlike our ancestors who had the proof of the plagues, who had the proof of Revelation, who had the proof of the Red Sea, we won't lose faith. We will be able to connect with God, connect with the oneness in the world, and therefore be able to connect with each other. Amen. Amen. We take a moment now as we pause in our service to think of those members of our community who are ill, our family, our friends, those in our immediate and broader circles who are in need of prayers of healing. We also think of all of those who are currently suffering from COVID-19, as well as victims of violence around the world. We also think of those who care for the sick each day and ask that God grant them the blessings of care, compassion, patience, hope, and love. We think of all of those who are in need of God's healing presence throughout creation and in our own community as we turn to page 371 and offer this prayer of healing.
Yisheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength to bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We turn now to our prayer books, page 586, as we rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'tehilu l'yotzer b'reshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim imav, u'shchinatu zo begovei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. There are stars up above so far away. We only see their lights long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, and life and death. At this sacred moment of our Shabbat evening worship, we think longingly and lovingly of those taken from us both recently and at this season in years past. We are in a period of Shabbat, the first 7 days since their funeral of Sheila, Barbara, Bobby Furman, and Myrna Hammerlin. And we mark the yardzites, the anniversary of their passing on this Shabbat, of Nathan Schuler, Edward Skyer, Muriel Merlin, Lenore Schindler, Larry Boxer, Jim Lane, Milton Cohen, William Cohan, Evelyn Neiman, George Orenstein, Arlene Kaiser, Scott Saban, and Bobby Levy. If you are remembering someone on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours. Zichronam Livracha. May all of their memories be a blessing. As we remember all those we have listed, all those we keep in our hearts, as well as the millions of our people who have no one to say Kaddish for them, and the thousands and thousands who have died as a result of the pandemic. We take all of their memories into our hearts, linking them to the Shemei Rabbah, the great, holy, and awesome name of God that we praise together, rising as one community. To turn to page 598 for the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yeh Shmei Rabbah v'vorach v'olam olam ve'almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei v'kudishav v'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba mishamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, uyaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all the bereaved here and everywhere with the blessing of peace. As together we all say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'romav, uyaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen.
Please be seated. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbos.
It was so great being able to be with you all here tonight as we celebrated Shabbat together. Those of you here on the patio, those of you joining us virtually on Zoom, Facebook, our website, YouTube. We are so glad all of you are here. Just a few brief announcements before we conclude our service tonight. Tomorrow morning, we will continue celebrating Shabbat at 9:15 with our Shabbat morning story time on Facebook. At 10:30 a.m., we will meet in our sanctuary for our Shabbat morning worship service, and we will celebrate the bar mitzvah of Jonah Grossman as he celebrates becoming the newest adult member of the Jewish people. We hope you will join us either in person or via Zoom or Facebook or our website tomorrow morning as we continue worshiping on Shabbat. Then tomorrow evening at 7:30, I invite you to join me back on Facebook for Havdalah as we say farewell to Shabbat for another week. On Monday evening at 7:30 p.m., our Sisterhood Book Club will meet, and on Tuesday at 1 p.m., our Knitting and Crochet group meets on Zoom. A little bit of mic music is off for this week, but we'll return the following week. So we hope to see you a week from Tuesday night for some more music with Mike on Facebook. On Wednesday, we will have Torah study at 11 a.m., both in the sanctuary and on Zoom. As we continue studying the book of Deuteronomy, we had our first in-person Torah study in over a year this past week. It was fantastic being able to study in person with everyone, and I look forward to seeing many more this week as we continue studying Torah. Next Friday night, we will have Kabbalat Shabbat services back in the sanctuary, so I hope to see you all back indoors. It might be a little cooler with some air conditioning next week, so I hope to see you all back then. In the meantime, we will conclude our service this evening with Adon Olam. Please join us and rise and return to page 625.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra, Yekasa, B'Betza Kol, Azayim Lach Shmo Nikra Adon Olam. V'Yachare Yiklot Hakol, Lefa Adon Yiklot Kara Adon Olam. Behu Raya, Behu Ove, Behu Yevati Kara Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra, Yekasa, B'Betza Kol,
Azayim Lach Shmo Nikra
Adon
Adon Olam.
Behu Echad B'Yein Sheni, Lehamshilo Le'amira Adon Olam, B'li Reishi, B'li Tachti, Elo Ha'od B'Hamisra Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Yekasa, הכל,
as I'm Lakshmani Adon Olam.
והוא אלי וחי גורלי, בצוף ליבי יצרה אדון עולם. והוא ניסי ומנוסי, ונפשי ביום מקרא אדון עולם, אדון עולם,
Adon Olam.
אשר מלך
Malam.
בטרם כל יצירי רע להיכנע. ותעש הכל, אדם לקשמון אדון עולם. בידו הקיבוני, ויצחתי הריבה אדון עולם. והוא ניסי ופרצופי, יביאתי, אדון אדון עולם,
Adon Olam.
אשר מלך
Hashem Malam.
בטרם כל יצירי רע להיכנע. ותעש הכל. As I'm elected Monday, I don't know them.
Baruch atah b'moecha, Baruch atah b'tzeitacha. As you were blessed in coming here tonight, may you be blessed in going forth. May you take all that is good and high and holy that you brought with you, bring it to creation, so that one day soon, through all of our good works, all of our works of Tikkun Olam, there will be more peace, more wholeness, more goodness throughout the world. Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.